All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are tuned in with Jim Cummings and Corey Feldman, the man who needs no introduction. You already know that. Thanks for joining us. Thank you very much.
How you
Appreciate
doing?
it.
Thanks,
Good,
guys.
good.
Thank you. Oh, so you're a host too?
Yeah, co-host.
Keep this thing moving?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, all right,
Absolutely.
cool.
Now we're locked in.
I love it.
We've got you.
How are you?
Oh man, it's great. It's great to be here.
It's
I'm
great
sure
to be
we'll have a
here.
hurricane in a minute, so stay tuned
Well,
for that.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Well, it's going to
'Cause-
give great aesthetic to the background.
That's right.
Yeah.
Gives
we're
us
on
some
the
great
Gulf Coast.
dimensional, value. You'll be able to really transfer it to 3D and get the full effect of like the tornado going, the
That's
buildings
right.
lifting
That's
up behind us. It'll be great.
Yeah. What was that, Sharknado? Is
Yeah,
that-
oh my gosh. Did you see that? Did you see any of
No,
those?
I didn't. Yes, of course I did.
You did?
I was
Really?
riveted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. Well, you've been busy. You started off
Always busy. My life is busy. I
Oh,
never
man.
stop. I
Yeah,
never
it's a
stop.
beautiful thing.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you too, right?
So far, so good. Yeah.
How many voices do you do?
All of them.
How many?
Every last one. No, I don't know, but the internet
Do you have a
knows.
number?
No.
I don't mean professional. I mean, like, how many do you have in your,
You mean in here?
Yeah, in
I
the
don't know.
canon.
It's crowded. It's not a
lots
pretty
of voices
sight.
in there, right?
Yeah, too many, man.
The council. We call them the council.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crowded in there. You don't go there.
Well, I started doing voices when I was 4, working for Disney.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't
I started
realize,
it
huh?
when I was 5, but I was
You did?
I was working on, walking or
Oh, right,
it's like
okay.
and working for Disney.
I'm
That,
like,
I didn't know
really?
that.
You didn't?
How did that keep going, please?
Well, I probably was doing Disney stuff before you were.
yeah.
Yeah. So back in the 70s.
You win.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
There you go. It's not a
crazy.
competition.
No, that's wicked.
But yeah, my very first job was Fox and the Hound. Well, my first feature film was Fox and the
Oh,
Hound.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I played the Hound.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so freaking cool. How did I not know that?
I don't know.
Jeez.
That's crazy,
Well, I'm
right?
glad one of us did.
That's right. Well, at the end of the day, it's part of the Disney family, but it started with my sister.
Oh.
So here's some more for you, some more trivia. So my sister started the Disney connection. So when I was 3 years old, I would go with her to the set. She was 7. She's 3 years older than me, so I was 3.5. She was 7. You weren't joking, boy. Woo.
Yeah.
But anyway, so at 7 years old, she was a Mickey Mouse Club Mouseketeer.
Wow.
Yeah. So I used to go with her to the set every day, and then people would, hear my voice, and that's how I got my first job. It was a casting lady that was in the Burbank offices while she was on the set filming. Some ladies walking by, and she hears me, and I guess when I was a kid, I always had this rough voice,
Sure.
like a little rasp or whatever.
Yeah.
And so as a kid, I sounded like an adult woman. So I was
you still do. It's
Thank
really
you.
it's
I
awesome.
appreciate
It's
that. It's
amazing.
very kind of you, Jim. So but anyway, I was, I had this voice that I guess was like, Mom, da 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 da. And I'm like, talking to my mom about something. And the
Wow.
lady says, can you please ask that lady to be quiet? We're trying to shoot in here. And then, and then I say something. I was, really, the lady needs to stop talking. And they come in and they're like, where's the lady?
Yeah.
Oh, is it you? And she's
Yeah.
like, no. I'm the mom. That's my son. You're here.
Yeah.
And, he's got a loud voice, and I'll
wow.
tell him to shut up, or whatever. And then she's like, no, that's amazing. Like, he's perfect. Like, I've got to bring him in for something if you let me. And that's kind of how it started. So it started because of my unique voice, and then my first, feature film was starring
Yeah.
in a Disney animated classic.
Wow.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's not a bad first gig.
Yeah.
Major motion picture. But it took me 4 years.
Okay, I mean, my
You know?
first
It's like-
gig was a McDonald's commercial.
Oh.
So at 3.5, the first thing that I shot was a McDonald's commercial. And that commercial ran for the next 8 years, won a Clio Award. It's a classic. It was the Christmas gift certificate commercial.
No kidding.
If you remember, where the little kid was walking down the stairs, and then he sees Santa Claus at the bottom of the stairs with the gift certificate. And
I'm
the
getting
big-
goosebumps.
Yeah, you remember that.
Oh, that's nuts.
Yeah, the little boy's like, that was me.
Oh, man.
Is that crazy?
That's dos mucho.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Jeez.
So we've been in each other's lives all these years.
This time,
and
yeah,
just
all
didn't
this
know it.
time.
Just
Who'd have
didn't know
thunk it?
Yeah.
Man, that's
so
great.
Now let me tell the story of how I met you.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I kind
Am
of remember
allowed?
that one.
Am I
Oh,
allowed?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, all right. So I met Jim at the Playboy Mansion.
Yes.
Of all places.
Of all places.
That's so not Disney of
Pooh,
us.
Playboy, yeah, and you were up at the crack of noon, as I recall.
Of course, yes. No, it was like, I think it was late, wasn't it? It was like midnight.
Yeah,
we were
late.
trying to get out of there, and so
Yeah.
we're in the game room, the famous game room.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I was playing a game of pool, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all standing around the pool table, and somebody said, "This is the guy who does Winnie the Pooh. He's the voice of Winnie the Pooh." And I was like, "I gotta meet him."
And you
So-
went, whatever,
no,
you know.
stop it. I said, "Give me some honey." No. So I was like, "Oh, I gotta meet him. I gotta meet him."
Yeah.
And so we came over. We said hello.
Yep.
And then here's the crazy part. So my son, his name is Zen, and he was a little tiny baby, and he was so cute at that time. Now he's not.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
No,
like-
he's not.
No, he's a man. He's a man. He's a big, strong man now. He'd be very upset if I called him anything less.
That's right.
But anyway, so he was a little tiny baby, and his favorite thing, his favorite cartoon character, of course, Winnie the Pooh. And because of it, we used to call him Zenny the Pooh.
Oh,
That was his nickname, Zenny Pooh. So
Oh,
we'd
there
be
you
like,
go.
"Oh, Zenny Pooh, come here," and he loved it, right? So he loved Winnie the Pooh. He read all the books. We, played the little tapes that go along with the book and all that kind of stuff. So he was used to hearing the voice.
yeah.
And I said, "Oh my God, it'd be great if you could leave him like a voicemail message, that I could play him later." So he was kind enough to take a moment, and he left the most adorable little message. You should have seen his eyes.
Oh, good.
Oh, wow. When I
Good.
brought it for him, his eyes got this big. What? You met Winnie the Pooh? Oh, it was so cute.
Oh, yeah.
my
Well, at
God.
that age too. That's
Yeah.
that's Pooville.
He was like 3. Yeah, it was perfect.
That's perfect. Oh, that's good. Thanks for telling me that.
Thank you for doing
Oh,
it. Thanks
my
for taking
pleasure.
the time.
Yeah, I've since been a real weasel, so I'm
Right.
evening things
You're
out.
never nice to anybody
That's
anymore,
not.
right?
No,
Yeah.
I'm all stuck
Figured
up.
you did it all.
That's
you
right.
Got it out of the
Good
way.
enough.
There you go.
Oh man, well
Just
that's
like the
great.
Goonies.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Hey, wait a minute. Was that a segue?
Bum, ba-dum, bum,
You've done
bum.
this before.
Hey, I might have been on an interview here or there.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, you have. Well, the Goonies, I think it was one of the coolest movies.
Thank
I
you.
mean, everybody in it went from being child star to movie star.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean,
Except for Jeff Cohen.
who? No, just
Exactly.
kidding.
No,
No.
but he's like the biggest entertainment lawyer now.
Yeah. That works.
So, yeah, everybody from that film ended up successful.
Yeah.
Cary Green became a director.
Mm-hmm.
Martha Plimpton went to Broadway and did many, huge movies and TV series after.
Sean Astin, he's
Is still
hanging
thriving. Still thriving.
in there. Yeah.
I don't know what Josh Brolin's doing.
Yeah, whatever he wants.
He just kind of went right down into the dumps. Didn't
Right,
he?
yeah.
Nothing there. Too bad. I mean, I thought the kid had so much, potential.
You would have thunk.
Yeah, I thought maybe something. He's kind of good looking. He's got muscles and stuff, so he should be like
You would
working
think,
or
yeah.
something. Yeah, it's weird. And then that Asian kid, boy, he just disappeared off the map, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he won an Academy Award last
Isn't he? I was gonna say, are we talking about the same guy?
No, but he did disappear for like 30 years to everybody.
Well, he
else.
knew.
But
Nice comeback.
Yeah, incredible comeback.
He gave
but
such a great speech.
yeah, wasn't it beautiful? I was crying.
Yeah. That was so inspiring, right?
But he didn't really disappear. For those of us, who love him and know him, he was working the whole time, but he was working behind the scenes. So he was in Hong Kong doing movies with Jet Li as a fight coordinator.
No
See,
way.
people didn't know this. Yeah, he was a
Wow.
badass stunt coordinator, fight coordinator, and he did actually worked on Conspiracy Theory with Richard Donner. Or was it Lethal Weapon 4? Well, one of the two, or maybe both. But he was doing, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff for Dick Donner, and from the director from Goonies.
Oh,
and
yeah.
continued to do all kinds of stuff. I mean, he was just very busy, but always behind the scenes, and really had given up the idea of acting altogether, which was crazy. And then all of a sudden, he gets this script, you know, and it was like, oh, I think maybe I'll consider some jobs or whatever. Got a new agent, and he was at my house one day. He goes, yeah, they sent me this script and this little independent movie, and I thought, oh man, we don't know if it'll ever be seen. We don't know what's gonna happen with it, but I'm really hopeful it comes out, and if it does, you got to come support me. You gotta come support me, okay? I was like, okay. Yeah. I love him. He's so sweet. But anyway, so the movie came out, and he calls me up. He's like, oh, we're gonna have a screening. You gotta come. I was like, okay. So they did this like Q&A. We went down to the screening, and I was just like, my jaw was on the floor. And when I saw that the fanny pack scene, have you seen the movie? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Oh, I don't think I have.
Oh, you gotta see it.
Oh wait, maybe.
It's a great.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, I think it's on Netflix right now.
Yeah.
It's in rotation.
I mean, it won like 10 Academy Awards.
Yeah,
I think it was the biggest movie.
I don't get
last
out
year.
much. I'm sorry to say.
That's all right. Well, you can watch it at home now.
Yeah,
Jim.
yeah.
It's a new thing.
I think I will. Yeah, I've heard of that.
They've got these things called TVs.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Put stuff on them. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then they send you a check.
That's right. Yes, of course. That's not how it works for everybody. That's just how it works for you.
Oh, well, that's good stuff, man.
Yes.
Wow. So, do you do a lot of cons nowadays too?
Because
these are fun.
Do a lot. I don't do a lot. I don't like to wear myself thin. I think it's special. The reason why I always do so well, I think, is because I just don't go to a lot of them. I do maybe 3 or 4 a year generally. But I do spend a lot of time seeing the fans because I'm always touring. That's the new thing. I mean, I put out this giant box set last year, which is a 30th anniversary of my first album. My first album came out in 1993. I started recording stuff for it in 1986.
Oh, man.
And my first single ever came out in 1989, which was a soundtrack for a film called Dream a Little Dream. So the very first material I put out to the public was a vinyl single in 1989, and then it took another 4 years before we actually got an album together and released it. And even then, it was like independent, it wasn't in record stores. It was like I was handing it out to people like, hey, you got to listen to my music, and if you don't like it, you could use it as a Frisbee or,
That's right.
A coaster or something.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so we just put out this 30th anniversary, which we took the original 2-inch tapes, the big thick tapes.
Oh, yeah.
And we had to bake them. I don't know if you know about this, but this is a thing. It's a real thing. So, for those people who remember the dinosaurs, there's back in the dinosaur days, there was Fred Flintstone and Wilma, and they had these big 2-inch tapes that we would use on these big giant tape machines. And when you recorded, you actually had to cut the tape together to actually splice stuff
I
and
know.
edit. Right?
I've seen it done many times.
Course,
Never went to try it, but
right, yeah. So we would record all our stuff. So we had this stuff in these big master tapes in my vault, been sitting there for all these years. And I was talking, do you know who Don Dokken is?
Don Dokken.
Dokken, Rockin' with Dokken from the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Don Dokken, I run into him. He's a really nice guy, super sweetheart. And he says, I said, well, I got all these tapes. I don't know what to do. He said, well, we just did a project, The Lost Tapes. And what you do is you bake them in an oven. I said, I've heard about that, but is it really true? And he says, yeah, I've got the oven for it. And I said, okay, well, if you could help, that'd be amazing because I've got all this stuff. And he said, yeah. So we took, there was like a specialist who sat there and went through every inch of the tape, and they have to clean off all the mold, and they have to do this whole chemical process. Then they take it, they put it in this oven, and what happens is the magnets fall off over time. So when you're dealing with, live tape, because, tape and film are a live thing. I mean, it's actually, people don't know this, but film is a moving being. It's a living entity, living film. So, so when we're dealing with tape, the magnets fall off and it all kind of falls apart and departicleizes. So what you got to do is you put it in this oven and the magnets magically jump back into their place, right where they're supposed to be. And then you take it and you run it through the tape machine one time. First of all, you have to have a tape machine from 1925.
Yeah.
But you run it through the tape machine. And then as you do it, you get one pass. And if you capture everything precisely, then you can individually process them digitally and signify them as individual tracks. and then you can mix them as individual tracks and then into a compilation of tracks. So it's a digital transfer. It's the highest quality you can get, and it sounds amazingly beautiful. So,
Wow.
yes, we did it. We got the process done. Don Dokken helped. We had all these songs, and then all of a sudden I started discovering there were these songs that I had forgotten about that we'd never released.
Oh, no way.
So I was like, well, this is amazing.
Well, that was like a treasure.
A treasure trove, yeah.
Treasure trove for you.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So, and then I started going through, oh, well, I better start looking through my old videos and all that kind of stuff. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh, yeah, remember this one from 1986 when I was working on Lost Boys and I made a music video in my dad's apartment? We should probably release that at some point, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's about time.
All this stuff that, I'd kind of forgotten about, fallen by the wayside, and I finally put it out for the fans. And so this disc is the box, is a 4-disc set with CDs, 4 CDs, 2 DVDs. We made a documentary about the process of making the album, the process of making the collection.
Wow.
We put together a 50-page color magazine that looks like a teen magazine from the 80s.
Oh, wow.
We got everybody who's been involved with my music from 86 to 93. Well, everybody except Lita Ford. She was just too busy for us, and she couldn't do it.
Oh, wow. What are you going to do?
We love Lita. I'm just giving her some
Yeah.
little dirt. But anyway, but no, so we had Michael Damian and Mickey Thomas from Starship, the lead
Oh,
singer of
wow.
Starship. who did-
Incredible pipes.
Yeah, oh, my God.
He's
he came
amazing.
back. He had done Dream a Little Dream, the first movie that I did music for, and he sang the song Dream a Little Dream, and I had to dance down the bleachers lip syncing as if I was singing. But in those days, I wasn't very strong of a singer. So
Yeah.
I was still learning. I was, very unsure. Yeah. So I did record a song with Michael Damian, who had the #1 song on the soundtrack, which was called Rock On.
Yes.
And remember that one? Hey, kids, rock and roll, rock on. Yeah. Exactly. You got it. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So Michael and I recorded a song during that time called Something in Your Eyes, which became my first single, but they didn't put it on the soundtrack album. So it was like, okay, I'm getting it now. Now it's all kind of coming together. This is an opportunity. I did like 7 or 8 film soundtracks between 86 and 93, but none of it ever came out on records. It was just in the movie. So I was like, here's my chance to give the fans everything they've been screaming for, which is like all these songs from the old movies and all these pictures and videos and stuff from the process of the making of it. We got Mickey to come back, and him and I did a 30th anniversary song remake of Dream a Little Dream, which is like a killer rockin' version. Like we did
No
like
kidding.
a really, really like almost a punk version of it.
Yeah.
And I got Mickey to perform. I produced it. So I got Mickey to like, I was like, you might have to grab your, what?
Yeah.
Get it up there. But, sometimes you got to, do what it takes to get that note. But, but I was, he's 70 years old. He's 70 years old. And he sounded like he was 20. I mean, I was blown away. So
At 7?
cool. 7D.
7D. Oh, thank you. I feel. Wait a
No,
minute,
no,
hold
no.
on.
7, I
we
went
talk
to
about
work
the same
with
guy.
No.
That's amazing.
Yeah. 70 years old.
And he's still.
And he sounds like he's 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
Jeez.
So we got him to do that. We then did this documentary. We did interviews with him, with Michael Damian, with all the people who were part of it. And we put together this film, which kind of explains everything I just told you, because
Wow.
a lot of people don't realize that I was actually singing before I was even acting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wow. Where in the womb?
Well,
Because
no.
you've been.
So what happened was, and it's a good question.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't understand that when you're 3 years old, you can't really memorize your lines. You can't really read the script. You can't really.
No, you can't read the script.
Work it out with the other actors, right? So how do you get the part when you're 3 years old? Well,
I think you have to be pretty cute.
right, exactly. So my mom figured out, well, he may not be able to read or write, but we've got to find a way that they're gonna, notice him and he's gonna stand out from the rest. And my dad was a singer and a musician. My sister was in the Mickey Mouse Club, singing and dancing every day on stage at Disneyland and all that. So then I was like, well, I like music. So she said, okay, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stick you in a room with a record player, and you're going to listen to this record over and over and over until you memorize every word of it.
Yeah.
And then I want you to come out and sing it for me. And, once I did, then she would take that. She would put me into the rooms for the castings.
Yep.
And I would go in and I would sing. and they would say, "Oh, look how cute he is."
You knew it the same way you know Happy Birthday. It's
Right,
just, you got
exactly.
it, you got it.
And I was doing easy songs like, Put on a Happy Face or
Yeah.
what was it? Sunshine
Oh, okay.
and Junk Food Junkie by Jim Croce.
Oh, Jump for Junkie. Oh, wow.
They loved when I did that one because I was like this little kid talking about, I got Twinkies in my closet.
Oh, wow. That was perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, you must have knocked them out.
Yeah, well, I got like 100 commercials by the time I was 8
Got
years
the gig.
old.
Yeah. Jeez.
So, but that's how I started, and then back to Disney again. My first TV movie of the week or TV special, whatever you want to call it, when I was about 5 or 6, was with Dick Van Dyke, and it was a musical, and we did. It was called How to Eat Like a Child, and there was lots of musical numbers, so I had to sing and dance with the greatest of all time.
Dick Van Dyke's amazing.
right off the bat. So
Yeah.
that'll do it.
Wow. That is astonishing. He played my dad because I do the character Pete. That big old guy that's always messing with Mickey Mouse. And we did a special, it's got to be maybe like 10 years ago. And he came in and did a cameo as Pete's dad.
Oh, cool.
And I was thinking, yeah, so Dick Van Dyke's my dad. Okay. I can die happily
That's
now.
pretty
This is-
bittersweet, yeah.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
crazy thing,
God
I think,
bless.
is he's actually old enough to be your dad.
Oh, yeah. He's in his 90s.
Oh, yeah, he's like 96 now.
And he's still going.
I know. God
He's
bless
still
him.
going, man.
You know what? I saw him at one of these conventions about 4 years ago. It was right before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And we were in the elevator together. It was like, hey, buddy, how are you? He remembered me. First of all, that's
Oh.
crazy, right?
Yeah,
come on.
that's
How do you even-
astonishing right there.
I mean, come on.
He's
right?
got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, hey, Corey, how are you? Good to see you, buddy. How's everything? That all that energy, right? I said, Dick, you got to tell me something. He said, what? I said, are you still dancing? And he goes, oh, yeah. And he starts a little soft shoe right there in the elevator, right?
Jeez,
And he goes, you got to keep moving, can't let it go. And you know how it is, Corey, right? You're still dancing, aren't you? I said, I'll never stop. He goes, exactly. I
Oh.
said, exactly.
How cool is that?
God bless him. I love him so much.
No kidding. Well, I think everybody does. He's like
Yeah.
everybody's at least favorite uncle.
Yeah.
That you're not related to.
Exactly. Living legend. I mean, he's like one of the last greats that we still
Oh
have.
yeah. You're right
Yeah.
about that.
And the performance he did in the new Mary Poppins. Did you see it?
I haven't seen that.
I
the
didn't
new
see
one
the
yet.
movie, but I watched that. Just all you got to do is YouTube,
Ooh.
watch his scene, because
Wow.
he's 91 or 92, and he gets up on the table and he's dancing. I mean, it's crazy.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
a jolly holiday with Mary.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, that's nuts. Well, you've got a few stories in you.
I
Huh?
do. Just
Oh,
a few.
man. Just a few.
Just a few. I was raised, in a very terrible environment, but to get away from that terrible environment, my two escapes were going to Neverland and the Playboy Mansion, rotating between
Yeah.
those two. Like, who can say that?
Wow. I'm pretty sure you're in a very small club.
Yeah, right.
A very small
I mean,
club.
to go to one of the places, I think, is pretty rare, but
Well,
to
one
go
of
to
them, yeah.
both.
Yeah, and
and
it's not
like-
like they're next door to each other
No.
physically or mentally or spiritually.
Right, exactly. Two different realms. But I still went to the Playboy Mansion the first time when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you thought you died and went to heaven.
You know what? I didn't, because I was too young to even appreciate the fact that there were beautiful women everywhere. I was
Yeah.
more excited about like Richard Pryor being there and Dudley Moore. and, like,
okay, I would have been too,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. I
Yeah,
got to
especially
see-
Richard Pryor. Oh, my God.
I got to meet Richard. I got to meet Dudley Moore.
Oh.
All the greats,
Richard Pryor is the king of the world, if you ask
right.
me.
Oh, absolutely. Brilliant.
Nobody. There's Richard Pryor, and then everybody else can fight for second place.
Right.
But,
I mean,
you know.
and you know who else I got to work with and meet, speaking of comedy legends?
Hmm.
The great Milton Berle. Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
What was that?
We did a show together. It was in the early 90s. I think it was called Burke's Law.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gene Barry. Right?
Yeah. And so we did an episode where it was like all the old time comedians. And I just happened to be the nephew of the guy who hired the one guy and like happened to be connected. But it was Henny Youngman. It was Milton Berle. It was Ed McMahon.
Oh, man.
Don't remember who the other two were, but it was 5 giant legends.
Yeah.
And I just got to be there like cracking jokes with them all every day.
Oh,
It
my
was just
God.
wow.
Now there's a memory for you.
Yeah. And then like a year, 2 years later, I went to the Comedy Store where I hung out all the time because I was kind of raised also at the Comedy Store. That was my club hangout.
Wow.
Which, was because of Sam Kinison. I became friends with Sam Kinison. Pauly Shore, who's here this weekend.
Yeah.
He was like a brother to me. And we were both little brothers to Sam.
Yeah.
So we were all like a little family, a little clique. And I was there at the Comedy Store almost every night. And, Eddie Murphy would be there, Richard Pryor, Andrew Dice Clay, Jim Carrey, like, all of them. They were all there. I mean, it was just the time.
Yeah, Jay Leno,
so
I think he's
amazing.
still on the side of it.
Yeah. Well, I think Jay was actually buying the car next door.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. At that Rolls Royce dealership.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Putting it on the roof or something like that. Hey,
Yeah.
Jay's car's here today.
Yeah.
No. So anyway, it was just, what a magical time. And I walk in one night and there's Milton Berle on the stage. And I was like, I got to watch him do an hour of comedy. I mean, who
No
can
way.
even say that, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's alive right now. But yeah.
Yeah.
He, I mean,
You.
this was in the late 90s, I think, but it was probably a year or two before he died. And I'll never forget one of his most genius lines. He said, I'm sorry if I smell. I had Taco Bell today. I gotta be honest. I had Taco Bell and I have so much gas, Arabs are following me wherever I go. It's terrible. And he was just like witty on it. Like, he's
Man.
like 90 something, wherever he was. And people were, razzing him from the audience. And he's just zinging him down. Just zinging him down.
man.
Just like
Oh,
so
God.
quick, so fast. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's a
Legend.
talent right there.
Legend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. It's too bad you don't have any cool stories to
I know,
to
right?
tell
I'm
them.
so
I mean,
boring.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I've been blessed. I've gotten to meet every legend I've ever wanted to meet. There's nobody I could think of. Well, one person. There's one person that I missed.
Yeah.
That I'm really sad I missed, which was John.
What was it, Jesus?
Basically,
oh,
John
yeah.
Lennon. Same thing.
John Lennon. Okay. Close. I was close.
Right.
Wow, no kidding. And I'm sure you met the other Beatles.
All three. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I knew I hated you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, the closest I got, I used to play rock and roll in New Orleans.
Oh, good.
And
That's
when I was a
fun.
kid. And we actually
Did you play on any of the boats, the Mississippi boats?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
On the President and the Admiral.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. My band, it was called Fusion, and I was a singer, and we played on the Admiral, and it was the biggest boat on the water, and we were just a cover band, we were just doing like Uriah
Saints Come
Heep and
Marching
stuff
In
like
and
that.
all
Yeah.
that stuff,
Oh well,
right?
no. It was
you
rock
didn't?
and roll.
Oh, okay.
But it was so anyway, no, it was a rock and roll band. And we made it to like opening act. We opened for Leonard Skinner, and then they got famous, and then they never hung around us
How dare
anymore.
they.
But we're on the President. We're playing on this boat, and we broke the record we had 5,002 people on there.
Wow.
And it was awesome. It was like a 3-hour tour, but not Gilligan's Island.
Right.
Did
you
and they
get
would go back
stranded
and
for
forth.
like 3 years on
Yeah,
some island?
without the stranding.
Okay.
And we went back and we were so full of ourselves and everything. And then B.B. King played the next week and got 6,000. We went, you bastard.
Oh, well.
I really wanted to hold on to that record more
You
than
know
a
what?
week.
To be beat out by B.B. King, I think that's
I'm
a bit
okay
of a
with it.
feather in the cap. It's
I'm
a bit
not.
of a feather
I'm
in the
okay
cap.
with it.
Yeah,
and that's
amazing.
exactly the way we looked at it.
So what do you play?
Sing. Well, I play drums.
Oh, you do?
But in that
I play
band-
drums too.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I actually think I lost my. We were looking around earlier.
He's like, I just happen to have a drum
I
set right
just
here.
happened to. Yeah, I do.
Whoa, look
Well,
at
I
that.
had sticks.
Oh,
I
well,
always
that
walk
works.
around with sticks.
Do you?
Yeah, just to annoy my fellow
Beating on
actori.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to piss people
just-
off. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I can't help it. It's just always.
Yeah.
Always
Oh,
a beat, always
same
a
here.
rhythm
Same
going.
here.
Yeah.
It's all the stuff used to get me kicked out of class. I made a good living at.
Exactly. Making all that noise, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
The nuns were not that crazy about me then. But
Well,
afterward, when I did a little something for the school,
Yeah.
and then I was
Then they
okay.
loved you
I was
again?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine.
Well, see, I would have been like, give me that ruler. Let me show you something else I can do with it.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, man. That's good stuff.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I had no idea that you had such a musical background.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, well, I lucked out. I was very fortunate. I'm a fairly good mimic, and I'm a half decent singer.
Right.
So
That's how I started too, imitating other people's voices.
Oh yeah. And then if you do it badly, then they think it's you.
Right.
So that works out. But no, I've got like, I don't know, a Lion King album. I think it was 7 times platinum. And I sing a song called Be Prepared.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're supposed to think it's Jeremy Irons.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, that was me.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, and
Well, you did a great job because I did think it was Jeremy.
Well,
Irons.
that was the idea.
Yeah, you did a great imitation.
Yeah, but and I was the lead singer for the California Raisins. I don't know if you remember them.
Yes, of course.
Ooh, I bet you want him. And I was still white. Hard to believe, but
You
yeah.
were? How did you pull that off?
Yeah, I don't know. That's something that had to do with my parents.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And what else? Pocahontas. I'm trying to picture my wall. Hunchback now. Anyway, Lion King 2, and yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
That's some amazing
Just,
stuff.
Yeah,
You
it's
sing as
mostly for
Pooh, right?
songs.
I would imagine.
A lot of times, yeah.
Yeah.
Pooh's got a lot of songs, but they don't go quite as big as Lion King.
I've
or
always
anything.
wanted to do singing animation. I would love to do more of that, actually.
Yeah.
It's fun. I did one.
I'll put it a good word for you.
Well, thank you, sir. No, I did one that was for Warner Brothers Animation. It was called The Scarecrow, and it was a good one actually. And I played the mouse. I played a field mouse that lived in his pocket. And there
that's
was
cool.
like 3 or 4 songs in that one. And so I got to do, I love singing in character. It's so much fun.
Oh, I agree.
Oh my God, I love it.
I agree.
And if you listen to my music, like on my albums, no 2 songs sound the same ever.
Oh.
Like there's always a different character that comes out depending on what we're talking about or what the theme is or what,
Sure.
the material. But the point is that like there's always, I try to bring like a new voice, a new character, something new to,
that's
to
cool.
each song, so it doesn't sound like the same guy over and over and over.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Well, I mean, all the greats, right? The people that I look up to the most vocally, Michael Jackson, obviously.
I was going to ask you, who are your favorites vocalists?
Yeah, Michael is. Come on, I mean,
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
can do the highest highs,
can
and
do
he's
it-
got that growl and that,
Yeah, yeah.
bring some meat to it. And McCartney. I mean, to me, McCartney has the greatest rock and roll voice in the history of rock and roll.
Yeah.
Because he gets that growl.
Well, he can get pretty.
Right.
And he can get long,
He's so
tall
soft
Sally.
and pretty, so lovely, really.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Yeah. Well, there's the other one.
Oh, well, I suppose you could do John, if I was
I
doing
don't
Paul.
think so.
Oh, I think you could. I think we could go all day. We could have a bit of
We
a
could go all
conversation
day.
about
And one
it.
of my favorite is, that's not your grandfather. I've seen your grandfather. Your grandfather lives in your house. That was
Right.
George Harrison from Hard Day's Night, I think.
Right,
Hard
right.
Day's
Yeah, I
Night.
remember that. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh,
Well, that's
that's
the other
not
one.
your grandfather at all.
Yeah. Who's that little old man then? When? Then.
right. I love it. They're
yeah.
great. They're so great. I'd sit there and do conversations as all 4 of them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's one of my things. That's when I was doing stand-up for a while before I got into live music.
Of course you did.
Right, duh. No, but I started when I was, again, 14, 15, doing, Comedy Store and Catch a Rising Star in New York and places like that. In fact, my first mainstream headline show in New York doing comedy, you're going to love this one. So nice. It was for the Lost Boys premiere. And I was out there doing press, and then I'd mentioned that I'd been at the Comedy Store and doing some stand-up and blah, blah, blah. But it was mostly just kind of jumping up with Sam or doing bits of improv and, maybe a little thing here and there. But it wasn't like, oh, here's your spot, So the first time I had a real spot, and of course, my publicist informs the media that I'm going to be doing this. So ABC News
Good.
comes down to cover it. And I'm at Catching Rising Star, and they put me right between Dennis Miller and Rodney Dangerfield. Now that's not
Perfect.
too much pressure, is it?
Perfect.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, hi, I'm the new kid. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, right.
What's that? Everybody's looking at their watch.
Right. Yeah. You got a joke? You got a joke?
yeah,
You funny?
yeah.
So that was fun. And then I think I
man.
had family there too. Like the whole thing was just like way too much pressure. It was way too much.
Yeah.
And Dennis was like, "Hey, great job, kid. Yeah, I got some jokes for you. If you want them, give me a call.
Yeah,
you know, one of those.
Give me
And I
a
was
call,
like,
babe.
Right? Yeah, cha.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, all right, buddy.
I do
But,
love Dennis Miller, I have to say.
You do?
Yeah, he's pretty sarcastic. I guess.
His comedy,
it's comedy,
is
yeah.
funny. Personality, not so
Oh
much.
well, there. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
not all charming, shall we say?
Yeah, I believe
But
you.
that said, Rodney was very funny, very good guy. Yeah, so I was very honored to be both geniuses, right?
Yeah.
So I was very honored to be there, but very nervous, as you can imagine.
Oh God.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Scary.
would do it. I remember I met Rodney Dangerfield. He was at an old place called B&B Sound when he was doing Rover Dangerfield. He decided he was going to do animation, all right? You know, hey, I tell you. And he went in and the damnedest thing, they had a riser for the stage to record, and why I don't know, but he would go in and he would take off all of his clothes, not all of them. He'd leave his underwear on, and hang them up on a rack there, and then put on his robe.
You'd have the wife beater, right? You'd have the wife beater, the boxers, with the jockstrap.
Yeah, and he would put on his robe and he'd go, "Okay, let's do this, all right?" You know, and then he would sit down and then he could record VO.
Yeah,
because he didn't have he was in his robe. I was thinking, sure,
he was an odd duck.
Yeah,
he was an odd duck. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and a poor guy, it took him like forever. I think he finally got famous when he was like 58.
Yeah, but
I mean, he was a trooper.
When I was a little kid, I mean, I'm talking 6 years old, 7 years old. I remember I was such a big fan of Rodney Dangerfield. I actually made an animated book because I had this little book of like his jokes or something. So I made this little animated book where I like would draw drawings of him making different faces as he's delivering the different jokes, and then I would put the joke bubble coming out of his mouth. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was a pretty huge fan of his comedy very early on.
Wow, yeah, you were.
Yeah. I loved comedy. So anyways, I guess it was the point of that story was when I did the performance in those days, what my bit was is I didn't have great jokes. I still don't have great jokes. Thank you. You're welcome. But anyway, there was, I would go back and forth between voices. And so I would do this bit, which kind of became my famous bit, I guess, if there was one, was me as Walter Cronkite. This dates it. But it was me as Walter Cronkite interviewing Ronald Reagan, Muhammad Ali, and Michael J. Fox, I think,
Wow.
So I would have these three very
I always
different...
get them confused.
Yeah, I know. They're very similar.
Jeez.
But that's the point, right? Is you want three different
yeah.
textures,
Yeah.
completely different
Absolutely.
personalities so far apart from each other, and then have like that balance of the other guy.
You're 100% right.
Right. So that was the bit, and it was fun, and I've always, and maybe it's probably because I'm a bit crazy, and like you said, I've got all those voices going on in my head all the time. So
me too.
It's kind of how I hear it. They're arguing or they're whatever. So I just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, because I've got those same voices. I have the same similar problem.
Yeah. Sometimes you just break into a voice, and you're not trying to. You're just walking around like, "Hey, ma'am, how you doing? Good to see you, baby." Yeah. Like, or whatever. Like, "Yo, what's up, baby? Yeah, what's going on?" You know what I mean? You just can't. It's just there all the time. Like Charles Fleischer, he never stops, right? I don't know if you know Charles, but like, but he's always like. He talks like this. He's like, "Yo, baby, what's going on?" And you think he like actually talks like that. He's like, "No, I don't talk like that. I just do that sometimes."
Yeah. Okay. Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
man, oh man.
you do a great Roger, I bet.
Yeah, I said Munza, but I was in Roger Rabbit.
Oh, well, that's why.
That was the first movie I was ever.
Were you a
did
stunt
any voice
double?
for. No, I was. I'll tell you what I was. I was bullet number 2.
Oh,
There were if you remember Yosemite Sam, I was sitting there waiting, looking through the credits. That's me. And you know what I liked? I was right before it said bullet number 2, Jim Cummings, singing blah blah blah, Frank Sinatra, and I went,
I've made it
above Frank Sinatra,
right? Yeah.
And I went home and I called my folks. I said, "You got to go see this movie."
Was he jealous?
He couldn't have cared. I have no idea.
So maybe you got the call.
Yeah.
Like,
oh.
Hey, listen.
Like that.
I got news for you, kid.
Yeah.
You're gonna be below me from now on.
Yeah,
It's never
oh.
happening again.
Well, that's that. Who was that? You know that famous Shecky Green story,
Yeah.
right? You
Right,
know,
which one?
Do you know that? Yeah, which one? Well, he opened for Frank, and you got 4 minutes, kid. And so he was out there. Oh, you got it, Frank. You got it. And he went and he was crushing it. And 4 minutes rolled around, and he let it go to like almost 5.
Oh wow.
Yeah, see.
Well, you
and
don't
the
mess with Frank's time.
And Julie was his guy. Is
I don't know.
You know the guy.
I never met him.
I didn't either. But you know, he used to tell the story. And the next night he was really killing it. He went over 5 minutes. You know, and Frank gave him 4.
Right.
And so the third night he did it, and he went out the backstage door.
He was just milking it a little bit longer each night. What can I get away with tonight? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he found out what he could get away with. He walked out of the stage door, heading over to his car. A couple of guys jump him, beat the shit out of him. Wow. Pardon my French. And then he's laying there. I go, what the hell's going on? Car lights, boom, 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 comes rolling up, stops right here. The window rolls down. 4 minutes.
Wow.
And then that's the story. And they reverse back down. I mean, it's like, okay.
I'd be like, I'm good, bro. I'm good. I
Yeah.
don't think I need to do this gig anymore.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like, what?
So that's,
Oh,
it could be
God.
apocryphal, as
I'm
they
telling
say.
you, man. Frank, that's not the way to treat your homies.
Yeah. Well, I guess he took the first punch.
Yeah, well, there you go.
4 minutes.
Did he really?
That's what I heard.
He jumped out and took the first punch?
No, I meant by going over 4 minutes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, that's, what are you going to do?
Well, of course. I mean, how dare you?
Yeah, I know.
Right. All I know is
You
if
can't
that
count
ever-
to 4.
If that ever happened to me, you know, during a live performance, I got off stage and, you know, the guy I was opening for was like, how dare you?
Yeah,
Like, okay,
yeah.
buddy, I think you're taking this a little seriously.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. But they were warmed up. The audience was anyway. Right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Not the
Well
next
warmed.
night.
Well
Not the
warmed.
4th night, but that's all
No.
right.
The 4th night, he was singing like Rocky.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's pretty good.
Hey, thank you very much.
You know what I
I've
mean?
been here all week. You know what I mean? I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Hey,
Oh, God.
Mickey. Well, basically, that was my character in Lost Boys. Was just a ripoff of Stallone. You know.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't a direct ripoff because I took a little bit of Stallone and a little bit of Chuck Norris and a little bit of
Bruce Lee?
Why
not?
Bruce Lee, no.
No,
it
I'm
was,
just kidding.
I mean, I was literally told by the director, you got to study these films and create a kind of uniguy, you know, take like 3 of these characters and then mix them all together.
No kidding.
What was the other one? It was Chuck Norris. Not really, because Schwarzenegger,
Yeah,
you
but
know, I'll be back.
Teutonic.
I'll be back. Yeah, that doesn't
Yeah.
really work. But it was, you know, but the whole idea, the presence, the, you know, tough guy, macho.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it was mostly Stallone, you know. I mean, it was like, hey, we've been here all week, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Mickey, we're going to do this thing. So I go over to his house.
Who's Stallone's house?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, I didn't know if he knew or if he saw it or anything, but I walk in and he's got this giant statue of Rocky.
Hard to
You know,
believe.
I know, imagine that, because he's such a humble guy.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that.
He's known for his humility.
Yeah. He's known.
I got a great Stallone. I got to tell you this story. All right, now you got me started on Stallone.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, this is a funny one. Oh my God, I've never told this publicly, so this is an exclusive for you. Here you go. And Stallone will probably laugh, actually, but
You hope.
yeah, otherwise, I'm gonna have a knuckle sandwich. But so I go to his house. My friend Brian James brought me there. He's no longer with us. Rest in peace. Brian was a great character actor. I don't know if you know his work, but he was in Blade Runner and Tango and Cash. And
Oh, yes.
48 Hours.
Yeah,
He was in
yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
So anyway, so he brings me over.
Yeah.
And, you know, Stallone's not there at first. We walk in, we see the statue, we kind of come into it's in Malibu. We come in, there's this beautiful kitchen. We're just kind of looking around the house, like, really nice. Where's Sly at, you know? Oh, he'll be down in a minute. He's with his masseuse upstairs. He's coming down, you know. Okay, great, we'll wait here. And a few minutes later, you know, Sly appears at the top of the stairs. He's got this white robe on. He's got this little Asian lady, and she's in like a little martial arts type outfit, and she's the the Vietnamese masseuse or whatever. And so, he's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming. I was upstairs getting a little health going, I'm like, oh, yeah, well, no problem. Thanks for having us. We appreciate it, I love your statue. It's really nice. Oh, yeah, you like that? Yeah. Hey, weren't you did me, right? I was like, I haven't done you, no, sir. No, I mean, like, in the movie, you did a character. Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
That was Barbie Benton, I think.
Yeah,
But I was like, well, yeah. Well, I did actually. I didn't know if you were aware of that. He's like, hey, it was pretty good. I was like, thanks. So he then sits down in this director's chair. This is all true. Wow. Sits down in this director's chair, and the little Asian lady goes over to his kitchen counter, and she takes some lemons, and she starts slicing these lemons. And he's like, "This, you're not gonna believe this, but it's great. You're gonna love this new Chinese ancient medicine type thing, but it's."
I like it was the new ancient type thing.
It's not comfortable. It's not comfortable, but you're gonna have to wait for a minute because I got to do this. We're like, oh, okay, whatever. We'll sit here and wait. So he leans his head back in this director's chair, and the woman takes the 2 slices of the cut lemon that's split in half, and she starts squeezing them into his eyeballs.
To his eyeballs?
Eyeballs. Lemons.
Was his nose busy? I mean, that's
directly into his eyeballs. And like I'm just sitting there in horror. I'm in shock. I'm like, who the hell does he really is Rambo? Oh my God.
Yeah, no
What
shit.
kind of an Iron Man comes downstairs and puts lemons in his eyeballs? So, he's just and it's like tears streaming down his face. He's like, yeah, I got it. And I'm like, whoa.
You're kidding.
And so he finishes, and then we just, have normal rest of the day. And I said, what was that about? Why do you do that? He's like, hey, it's a great technique. I learned about it because, ever since I've been, working out and doing these movies, I got to look tough all the time. The eyes get bloodshot, So what it does, ironically, is it cleans out the eyeballs, so it takes away that yellow mucusy stuff, it makes it nice and clear.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
It's good, yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. I understand. I mean, no pain, no gain,
Yeah.
So that was it. And then, we had our nice time and we left. Christ. 30 years later, I'm at Giuseppe Franco's salon in Beverly Hills, and Giuseppe's good friends with him and Schwarzenegger and everybody. Everybody goes there. And I'm at the counter, and I feel a tap on the back of my shoulder, and I hear his voice. Hey, yo, Corey, how you doing? I was like, oh, hey, Sly, how are
really
you, buddy?
good.
What's going on? And he's like, hey, let me tell you, it's really good to see you, man. I'm glad you're doing all right. You look great. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what your secret is, but you look great. I was like, thank you. I appreciate it. You look great, too. Maybe it's from the lemons that you were squeezing in your eyes the last time I saw you. And he goes, oh, you know what? I have a funny story about that. I said, really?
Yeah, no kidding.
I said, what is that? He goes, you wouldn't believe it, but it turns out it wasn't true. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, it didn't work at all. Didn't work at all.
Yeah, it didn't work at all.
I'm like, oh, good way to find that out. Yeah. Good way to find that out.
Yeah, but at least I don't have glaucoma. I cleared up my glaucoma.
Exactly. It could have been worse.
Wow, it didn't work at all. Right. No kidding.
Really?
Like you were in any danger, like you'd been doing it all along.
Right. Well, now you're going to tell me.
Yeah.
After all those lemons I put in my eyes.
I went through a lemon grove.
Right, exactly. I started growing them in my backyard just so I could be more like you.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no, lemons. Funny stuff.
How long did that take? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's knucking futs. Oh, man. So what's next for you?
Well, we're going on tour again.
Yeah.
We're actually heading out in September. We're going to be all over the country. And then, dun-dun-dun, my first U.S. world tour. Very exciting. And then, first world tour after the U.S. tour, which is very exciting.
Wow.
So I've done like 10, 12 tours of the U.S., through my lifetime, but this will be my first ever international tour.
Wow.
I've never actually done a full tour outside of the U.S.
Wow.
So
That's
we're going to
great.
hit like England, we're going to hit the U.K., we're going to hit Europe, we're going to hit Asia, Australia, Canada.
So Earth.
Right, basically.
Coming to an Earth
Hopefully
near you.
Latin America, that's the idea. We
Corey's
wanna
coming
get-
to an Earth near
I
you,
hope
folks.
so.
That's
It
pretty
would be
good.
nice, finally.
Oh, man.
He's landing. Wait. Running underneath. Wait, catch him. Somebody catch him.
Oh, man.
But anyway.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Congratulations.
And then the other really exciting thing is that we just announced the release of my very own Funko Pop. You know Funkos, I'm sure.
That's-
You've probably signed 1 billion of them, right?
Oh, excuse me. Yes, but that's when you know you made it. Because I have a bunch of Funko Pops, but it's a Pooh and Tigger and Darkwing Duck and Taz.
As do I.
You have your own
Right.
Funko
But
Pop
mine
as
are
of you.
Edgar and Mouth and Donatello and I'm sure Fox and
Oh,
Hound,
yeah,
but
sure.
Yes, it's a big honor.
Wow.
For making a Corey Feldman exclusive Funko Pop. It's a beautiful, so nice. I love them. First of all, the owners of the company,
Yeah.
greatest people in the world.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Mike, the guy who actually created it,
Yeah.
they call him Funmaker Mike. Amazing guy. He's so
Wow.
brilliant, so great. He's like Willy Wonka. He's like
Whoa, wow. That's cool.
He's got this factory.
Does he have a
go
theme
down-
song for himself? He
Probably. I imagine he does. And he's a musician.
Oh,
Ironically.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, big surprise.
So there you go. Yeah, he plays
Art never
guitar
lands in
and-
one spot, does it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, he started making these things in his garage. He's good friends with a guy that I'm sure you know by the name of Bob Gurr. Yes, he was one of
Yes.
the original Imagineers
No kidding.
that Walt personally hired.
Oh, wow.
And we got to have
The
dinner
8
with
grand
him.
old men, right?
Yes.
Wasn't there 8 of them?
Yes. And he's the only one left.
No kidding. I
And we
didn't
got
know
to have
that.
dinner with him at the original Bob's Big Boy in Burbank.
Right. I know it well.
Yeah. And he was telling us all the stories about how when they made Bambi, they brought all these animals into the office
Yeah.
and they would sit there and like study the animals. That's
Mm-hmm.
what Walt said. I want you to study these animals, learn their mannerisms, learn how they react, learn
Yeah.
how, just watch them all day, every day. And that was their job. They would put
Wow.
a deer in the middle of the floor and they would
Yeah.
just sit there and watch them.
That's amazing. I from working on Lion King, I knew a lot of the illustrators, and they went to Africa.
Yeah.
They went to Africa, hung around, and if you see Pumbaa, Pumbaa's the one that cracks you up because as it happened, I went to Africa, like I don't know, I spent a month in Africa, maybe the year before we made Lion King. And they captured the thing that they really captured best was the warthog and the macaw. Who the way they flew and the way they ran with their butts up in the air and their tails up in the air. I go, oh my God. And I saw Lion King and they go, they really do that. They really,
Yeah,
that's how
right,
they
right,
really
right,
look. Look
right.
at him go.
Exactly.
And
but
it
that's
was
the magic of Disney. I mean,
Oh.
that literally is the magic of Disney.
Yeah.
To pay attention to those kinds of details.
It is. It absolutely is.
Love it. Like,
Man.
I mean, Fox and the Hound. I'm in the movie, right? I've seen it 20 times.
Sure.
Still cry every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. I don't cry when I watch Stand By Me.
Yeah,
I don't-
yeah,
You know what I
well,
mean? I don't cry when
yeah.
I watch my other movies, but
made it off the
I
bridge.
watch that.
Wow.
And even though I know what's going to happen, I
Yeah.
still gets me every
I
time.
get that with Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
But it's not, and it's just because it's so sweet and so sentimental.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that gets through that movie without a tear in their eye.
Right.
So
Like Color Purple, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You can't watch that movie and not cry.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just so deep and riveting and like
I
powerful.
agree.
and-
Yeah, well,
I love
Spielberg's
movies
got
like
this
that.
down.
Yeah, I love any movie that gives you that feeling of like, even
Mm-hmm.
if it's a painful feeling, but it's that connection. You get that inspiration from it. It moves you. I mean, that's the whole secret to art, right?
Yes, it
getting,
is.
Is getting some kind of a reaction. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Wow.
whether it's positive or negative, people will say, "Oh, well, you got too much crap for this performance, or you got too much of the," and it's like, no. As long as it's about the art, art is subjective. So the way I look at it, whether you love my art or whether you hate my art, at least if you hate it, I'm still getting a reaction. Because the worst thing that you could do is put something out and have people not notice or not care. I'd much rather that they, are adamantly against it or adamantly for it, but they're
Yeah, but
they've
they're
listened to it
adamant.
5 times to say how much they hate you.
Yes,
You know
that's
what I
right.
mean?
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Keep buying tickets.
Exactly.
That's
keeps
good
us
stuff.
It keeps us employed, so
Yeah.
we don't have to go out and bag groceries or whatever.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm glad you're doing this,
I'm glad you're doing this.
and congratulations with the success of this.
Yeah, so far so
You
good.
took the pod world by storm.
Yes, yeah. Well, I've always wanted to be a pod person.
Yeah.
What was that? The Invasion of the Body Snatchers trivia.
Yes, there you
Yeah.
go. Well, I've always kind of felt you were a bit of a pod.
Yeah, yes.
I must say.
I have to get back into the closet and come back out as somebody else.
Right, living the
You
pod
know,
life.
Living the pod life. Oh man.
Well, God bless you, Jim. Thank you so much. Thanks for
thank
having
you.
me.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
everybody.
much. Really appreciate it.
And the crowd went wild.
Yeah.
God bless you, brother.
Thank you, brother.